most intelligent idol worshippers don't actually claim that the idol itself that they are worshipping actually has any power. They believe that somehow these idols represent spirits or powers or beings that can be intermediaries or intercessors between them and God. And they give an example. They say, for example, look, if you want to go and see Tony Blair, yeah, I'm not saying this is exactly the example they give, but you know, if you want to go and see Tony Blair, you don't just go up and say, hey Tony, you know, can I have a chat with you? So like, oh my God, it's one of those Muslims, run, okay? No, I mean, you know, they will say, no, you have to go through Tony's cronies, yeah? You have to go through the cronies of Tony, right, if you want to get to him. So you have to go to those people who he knows, or even you have to go through the cronies of the cronies, or the cronies of the cronies of the cronies, depending, yeah? You know, if you're really like just a nobody, but of course if you're rich and middle class, you know, you could probably get to see him straight away. If you have enough money, he might even come to visit you, yeah? But for you ordinary people, Muslims, yeah, especially those veiled women, you could take your veil off, then maybe we'll talk to you. Yeah? Okay? No. You know, you have to go through special channels. And they say, well, it's like that with God, you see? You can't just talk straight to God. You have to go through those people who are close to God. You have to go to the priest who will then talk to, you know, this super sort of semi-God who will pass on the message bit by bit. You have to go through. And the Quran deals with this.
وَيَعْبُدُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ مَا لَا يَضُرُّهُمْ وَلَا يَنفَعُهُمْ وَيَقُولُونَ هَؤُلَاءِ شُفَعَاؤُنَا عِندَ اللَّهِ قُلْ أَتُنَبِّئُونَ اللَّهَ بِمَا لَا يَعْلَمُ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَلَا فِي الْأَرْضِ سُبْحَانَهُ وَتَعَالَى عَمَّا يُشْرِكُونَ.
So they imagine God is like a king or a prime minister or something, you know, surrounded by all these cronies and these sort of demigods and these things. That's how you have to get to God. That's how they portray it. Okay? Of course, the problem with this is that immediately these people have presumed that God suffers from the limitations and the deficiencies of the human beings. Right? Because why does Tony need cronies? Can anyone tell me? Why does Tony need cronies? Because he's a human being. He's afraid of being assassinated. He's afraid of terrorists. He's also afraid. He's not afraid. He just simply doesn't have enough time to deal with the complaint of every single individual person, right? He has to eat his dinner. He has to spend time with Cherry and his family, right? He has to go on holiday, usually at the expense of some rich friend of his, you know. Nothing wrong with that, actually. I don't think there's anything wrong. Personally, I think there's nothing wrong with that at all. How could I? My parents are always, you know, helping me go on holiday and visit them and stuff like that. But anyway, you know, that aside. You know, so he has to have people. See, is this really worth me dealing with? If every single person wanted to personally complain to the Prime Minister about every single little problem that they had, would he be able to deal with that? Of course he wouldn't, because he's human. He has 24 hours in a day. He's limited. You see, but God is not limited like that. Allah, God, the Creator, who has created this whole universe, can hear the complaint of every single human being. And not only that, an incredible thing, if every single human being complained to God all at the same time, God could hear every voice of every human being, and God could give every one of them what they wanted, and that would be easy for God. Right? Now, how about the human beings? If you all start talking to me at the same time, could I understand what you're going on about? Could I? Could I? No, I can't. And the reason I can't is because I'm human. Let's think about what that means in respect to those people who pray to saints and prophets. There are even some Muslims who do this. And now we can see how people start to make others equal with Allah. So now let's say that I am praying to Saint Anthony, or some Muslim is praying to Abdul Qadir al-Jalani, or Prophet Muhammad, or Prophet Jesus, okay, or whatever, right? Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, alayhi salam. Are you telling me that, not just me by the way, let's just say that 1 million Muslims all at the same time are asking and calling upon the Prophet Muhammad, or 1 million Catholics all at the same time are calling upon Saint Anthony? Are you telling me that Saint Anthony can hear 1 million voices all at the same time? If you're telling me that he can, then actually you are not describing a human being anymore. You are saying that he has powers that are actually divine powers. You are now beginning to make that person equal with Allah, with God. Whether it's the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, or Prophet Isa, or Saint Anthony, or Abdul Qadir al-Jalani, if you first of all put aside the argument of whether the dead can even hear the living, okay, let's put that aside. Although I believe that the dead cannot hear the living. That's why it's called barzak. Calling upon a dead person is like calling upon a brick. But let's put that aside. Let's say they can hear. Are you saying they can hear these multiple voices all at the same time? You're not really saying they're human anymore. And they could deal with all these prayers and all of these supplications? That's a divine attribute. And this is how people either they imagine that God, Allah, is limited. See, they've given to Allah limitations, and they've given to human beings exaggerations. This is how people start to make and worship things, and listen, if I pray to Saint Anthony, don't I hope that he's going to hear me? Don't I trust that he's going to answer my prayers? Don't I put then faith and hope and trust, and I believe that he's going to give me what I want and what I need? Or if I pray to Prophet Muhammad or Jesus or whoever it may be, doesn't it therefore become a God, an object of worship? It does, of course it does.